What is going on, guys? I wasn't going to make a video today, but I forgot that actually the Attacker Mage reroll banner was coming out today. So, true to my word, we're making a video. What should you be aiming for if you are pulling on this banner? Should you be pulling on this banner at all, guys? Because I do show some pretty powerful units on here for TMR, super TMRs, as well as 7-star characters to actually use in your party here. They have Malphase, White Lily, Dark Mage Fina, Agent Olive, Eldor King Rain, Warrior of Light Bards. Kefka's kind of hanging out in there. So I'm going to be talking about all of these characters that you guys can get here, and then whether or not you should be, and if you should be pulling on it, what you're aiming for, in my opinion, on this banner, guys. So once again, thank you guys so much. I'm able to do stuff like this and make videos nearly every day. I don't think there's a day I haven't made a video this month. I think there's what, 24 days that have passed now, and there's been 27 videos uploaded on this channel. So we do like to give back to the FFBE community and that Final Fantasy community as much as possible. I do love this game, and this is crazy. It's crazy to be able to do stuff like this, but I can't do it without your support, guys. So if you leave that like, leave that comment, even if you're not putting any sort of resources into this banner, let me know why or why not you are, and we can hash it up down there together as a community. Thank you guys once again for supporting it in that way, and thank you guys once again who are supporting the channel again on Patreon, whether you're the 99 cent bundle or not, and then as well to our YouTube channel members. Thank you guys so much for going the extra further possible way to keep this channel going strong and growing. So thank you guys so much. Let's get into this right here, right now. As you can see, summon 6,000 Lapis. I almost clicked on it again. I want to click on the drop rate button, and you're going to be seeing here what we have available for us. So it is a 5% rainbow rate for the other 10 units, so it's nothing lower than 5%, and you can get more rainbows in the guaranteed one. Now remember, the guaranteed one that you're getting, you're also going to get a 50% super TMR Moogle for that. So if you have like 2 copies of a character or a 7-star version of a character, you can get the 50% STMR Moogle in the 5-star version, put those into your current existing 7-star character, fuse them all together, and get their super TMR. So let's go through them here. We'll talk about the character, their TMR, and their super TMR. So we have Soul, very old character. You can use him as a mage. If you do get him, you shouldn't really be pulling for Soul. He's kind of one of the not so fantastic characters here. His TMR is kind of okay. His super TMR is nice and strong, but not necessary. It's the Heliolite, and it is a very high raw 70 magic on it. It also reduces the MP costs of all of your skills and abilities and spells. I do believe by like 30%, and I think it's even stackable, but it's so unnecessary that you guys don't really need to be aiming for that. So it's a little bit of a not so great unit on the banner there. Lunara, sort of the same thing. Her super TMR is amazing, 100% demon killer, as well as some very high dark resist there on her super TMR. People use this all the time. If you have access to it, you're going to use it. There's a lot of demon killer bosses, but it's sort of a cool thing that you can gain access to. You don't need to aim for that, so it's also be another character that's not really all that great on this banner. Alespris is in here. Her super TMR and TMR kind of okay. Her as a character, very old, just like Lunara and Soul. Lunara and Soul, very, 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 I know I just said Lunara and Lunara, right? Whatever. But Alespris and Lunara, both very old units here, and they shouldn't be something that you should be aiming for as a new player. Chocobo Fina, Zac, Kaito, and Lunith also are old characters, and you don't really need to be caring about putting them into your party. TMR-wise, Zac's got a two-handed sword, not that big of a deal. There's a whole bunch of them that are stronger than his. His super TMR is 100% true double hand and gives you 40% attack if you're equipped with a great sword. Not that big of a deal either. It's just a 40% attack in addition to 100% true double hand. You might use it in a couple of builds, but a lot of the time you're not really going to need it, so it's not worth going after. Kaito, though, his super TMR is very, very coveted by a lot of the community because it does have a lot of cool stuff going for it. It's got 30% dodge on it, physical evasion, very, very powerful. One of the only 30%, might be the only, I think it is the only 30% evasion materia in the game. There are 2 weapons that have 30% dodge, which we'll get to on this banner as well. It also has a large amount of attack, 50% attack, and then 20%, I do believe, additional attack if you're wearing a katana, as well as some water and wind resist. So I know a lot of you guys out there might be looking for Kaito super TMR for those tank builds, and you can do a lot of cool things with it. As a character, though, not really all that great nowadays. Can't really change. He's like a damage over time character with damage over time debuffs, and his TMR, not the craziest thing either. Lunith, the only thing worth talking about for Lunith is if you get one of him You have a very powerful Super TMR with his body piece, 45 flat attack with fire, wind, water, and earth resist 30%, I do believe, as well. So pretty cool there. Kaito is definitely the best one we've seen so far. Red 13, not really worth talking about. Super TMR, not worth chasing forward. It is pretty strong. Percent MP, very high raw attack of 60. But as a character, not the newest character out of the box or anything of that nature. TMR also not the craziest thing either. Carlet here, as a character, not the greatest, but Super TMR, if you're looking to complete a Super TMR, 60 attack, 60 magic, 20% MP helmet, or not helmet, but hat. I don't know why I said helmet. It's a hat. You can put it on your mages. You can put it on your physical damage dealers. You can put it on your hybrid characters. It is like the cherry on top for a lot of builds. It's one of the last things that you're going to want to acquire. So just you can have the quote-unquote best in slot for a lot of different counters out there. So very strong Super TMR, but nothing that's like crazy that you need to go after. It's one of those things that you'll be happy once you have it. You'll use it a lot once you have it, but you don't really need to go after it. You just kind of, hopefully it happens randomly over time. Regina here is a good character. She will get enhancements in the future. She's not doing the damage, that she used to do. She still does very, very good damage. She does have a lot of gear to work with now in the global version. There's always more gun-associated gear, limit burst damage gear coming out of the woodwork there. And you can use her if you do happen upon her. You don't need to go for her in order to use her as a character. Her TMR is pretty powerful, though, right? 30% attack when wearing a gun, and it has a 40 attack on it as well. And her hat. And then her Super TMR is actually very, very strong and very, very powerful because it's one of the few materials in the game that gives you 60% unconditional attack, and then it has a bunch of different killers on it. So if you're looking for like Demon Killer, Fairy Killer, I can't remember the 4 that it has on. I think it's Demons, Fairies, Undeads, and Machine Monsters. I do believe it has killers for all of those, so you'll be using it a lot once you get it, and it's going to go into a lot of your builds there. So it's one of those super cool, awesome, unique Super TMRs. Blossom Sage Sakura, as a character, you can still use her. She's kind of really showing her age, though, nowadays. She still can do some pretty decent stuff, but a lot of people have moved away from her. Her Super TMR is just a very high decent spirit, very high magic robe there. And it does have, like, I think it's 1 limit burst gauge crystal fill per turn. Nothing super insane there. Archmage Kefka's Super TMR, if you're going for a true double hand mage, is very powerful because it does give 60% magic and 100% true double hand. The thing with Archmage Kefka's Super TMR is, even though it's very powerful when you're going for true double hand magic, a lot of the best ways to build a character for using Super TMRs on a mage is actually true dual wield magic, because you gain so much extra magic from being able to wear a second rod instead of just having 1 rod. So you can wear like 2 whips, or a rod and a whip, or whatever it is that you're doing. You gain a bunch of extra magic from having that second weapon on, because not only does that second weapon give you 150, 160 extra magic because it's there on your character, but because it's magic coming from a piece of equipment, the true dual wield, like 200%, will factor that in if you have 200% true dual wield 2 more times on top of the raw base magic that you're getting there. So you can kind of triple down on having that extra weapon there. So true dual wield, 150 magic weapon is actually going to be equivalent to 450 extra magic. So keep that in mind if you're looking at Archmage Kefka and thinking that it looks pretty tasty for the Super TMR. You might be wanting to try to invest into true dual wield magic. Speaking of true dual wield magic, though, we have Malphasy returning once again with the Ravenheart, one of my highly best rated, whatever the best adjective you want to put there for how strong I think this thing is in FFBE. Gives you 40 flat attack, 40 flat magic, 20% attack, 20% magic, 50% true dual attack, 50% true dual magic, 25% bird killer, 25% demon killer. I think it's even got like 10 defense and 10 spirit on it. Like, this thing is and it gives you dual cast. It's the whole kit and caboodle, plus the kitchen sink and your neighbor's kitchen sink and your neighbor's old kitchen sink, all in the same thing on an accessory slot. True dual wield attacker is going to use it. True dual wield hybrid damage dealer is going to use it. True dual wield mages are going to use it. Fantastic Super TMR, and this is going to be something that you're probably going to want to be aiming for if you're pulling on this reroll banner. King Lastwell is actually a pretty recently released unit, very strong still, really easy to build. His Super TMR is a fantastic 2-handed katana. So if you have a current 7-star King Lastwell and you still don't have like the craziest 2-handed katana, you're still using him, this might be an opportunity for you to run into that. If you have one King Lastwell, you random another King Lastwell. then you'll have a 7-star version of him. If you haven't gotten a recent damage dealer, he's gonna do a lot of good stuff for you, and you're gonna be that 50% closer to that super TMR. So if you get another Hess King Lastwell down the road, then you're gonna have that very strong two-handed katana for him. It also buffs up all the various Mirror of Equity skills in the game by a small margin. It's gonna increase your damage just by a little bit. Warrior of Late Bart's here, still usable, still a good damage dealer, and he's in the game to stay for a long time here. So one of those ramp up over time characters, chaining characters based on the wind element mainly, but a very strong character if you're looking for a damage dealer. Not the newest one, but if you random into him, you won't feel too bad, especially if you're a newer player looking for new characters. Now we also have White Lily Dark Fina, arguably the best mage in the game right now. So very strong pull here with White Lily Dark Mage Fina. Only to be outdone by, which I'm going to be doing a video on sometime this week, is the new released Dark Fina Bahamut, who is probably the only mage I've ever been interested in pulling on because she is just that strong, just that powerful. She's an absolutely ridiculous character, and it's going to be like the epitome of power creep. All right, it's going to be a power spike that we'll be looking at in the next like 8-9 months from now. So that's a long time, almost a year away from now, and she might even get delayed by a couple of months because we have our global exclusive holiday seasonal units that always pushes things back by a month or so. But White Lady Dark Mage Fiend, I don't really need to go for her super TMR, but she's a very strong mage in global. Now we also have Mastermind Zahn here. So Mastermind Zahn is actually a very strong character, and I think he's going to be depending on what other characters you can use him with, and especially if you have that mastermind brain, you're going to be able to do some crazy stuff in certain content, especially something called Dark Visions, which you may have heard me talk about, and he's going to be able to do a lot of cool stuff in Dark Vision. So if you're looking to push up your point total and your ranking reward total in Dark Visions, he might be a character that you want to get your hands on because of his abilities to spread around different elemental resistance buffs and killer buffs and limit burst damage for himself, and his various different chaining frame families because you can't use duplicate units in Dark Visions. He's going to be a very fantastic character for Dark Visions. He's going to make a lot of your guys' lives a lot easier, and he's going to give you a bunch of free damage for a lot of those bosses, etc., etc., etc. So he's going to be a very strong character for Dark Visions, which is going to be our newest kind of content that we'll be seeing in the future. Hopefully, I think they did say spring sometime in 2020, so we'll have to see how that goes. I think we'll get it around that time. As far as a super TMR, that also shouldn't need any introduction. It is a one-handed dagger, very high attack. It's like 168 or something around there. I think it's 168 exactly. Don't know how I remember that, but it also has 100% high tide on it, and it enables dual wield, and it also has 30% evasion on it. So it's one of those jack of all trades, master of them all super TMRs. If you're going for a dodge build on a tank, you can go ahead and throw that in there in your weapon slot. It's going to allow you to get your limit bursts off easier. It's going to allow you to make evasion builds easier. And if you gear your supports and healers out like I do, a lot of my healers and supports, they're built dual wield, and they're dual wielding daggers because you can get high tide from Item World on there, 150% additional high tide. This dagger also has 100% on it, and it's going to allow healers and supports who might not even be able to dual wield the ability to dual wield on top of that. So if you get the rare ability for high tide plus on this dagger, you're going to have 250% high tide, giving your character the ability to dual wield on top of that, and giving them 30% dodge. And you're just going to be able to fire off your supportive limit bursts left, right, front, and center because you can put in another dagger in their other hand if you want to with additional high tide plus. So you could be doing crazy stuff, 400% high tide in just your weapon selection there. So Mastermind Zahn is going to be on a lot of people's lists here for a character to get from this. Agent Olive as a character still does very good damage, very strong, especially with Mastermind Zahn being able to pass around her various buffs, etc. Big burst damage, which is going to be another big thing that you can do in Dark Visions. Big burst damage, do as much damage as you can in a single turn. And then her super TMR and TMR are both very relevant because her TMR is just another version of Buster style. So it gives you 100% true double hand when single wielding any weapon. And then on top of that, it also is going to cast a skill at the start of every turn that's going to fill your limit burst gauge by a couple of limit burst crystals. And then her super TMR is by far the best two-handed gun in the game and probably will ever be in the game for a long time coming. There's nothing that even comes close to it. It is a two-handed gun that gives you 50% attack and also gives you 30% limit burst damage there. So it's a fantastic weapon to throw on a bunch of different characters. I'm using it right now on this wacky, crazy inflatable, flaming 2-man, 2 double-hand Noctis build where all the stars align, and it actually is a viable build in certain situations. It's pretty fun to use because you can get just so much attack from it in certain situations. So very, very cool thing there. Living Shun Total, probably like the oldest, most defunct character on here. Her super TMR, 80% magic and equipped with a rod. As far as the character goes, nothing really worth talking about. Eldor King Rain is still showing up in here. A very strong character to this day. Very simple, very easy to use. Big limit burst damage. His TMR also is a one-of-a-kind sort of item in the game right now, where it's a piece of heavy armor that gives you not only some decent attack stats, but also increases your limit burst damage. So you can put that on a lot of different characters. Not even only for him, but any other character as well. And his super TMR is kind of okay. It's two-handed sword, or two-handed greatsword, excuse me, 174 attack, I want to say, and 50% true double hand. I wouldn't really go after his super TMR in a lot of circumstances. There's some other better things, but if it's your first big super TMR two-handed sword and you want that true double hand, it can open up some build varieties for you there. So if I was to say, should you pull on this banner, this is going to be probably the worst one of the 3 to pull on. The Attacker Mage Banner is going to be this one, and then we're going to have the Support Banner, and then we're going to have the Healer Tank Banner. So as far as longevity of the units themselves, there are some good ones in here, but there's a bunch of chaff, whatever it is in here. You know, have really old units like Living Shototo and you know, Zac and Chocobo Fina and Alespris and Lunara and even Soul at this point when comparing mages, but there are some really cool items in there. And if you want all of the really good ones, right, if you have a use for Mastermind Zahn Super TMR and Agent Olive Super TMR and White Lily Dark Fina as a character, as a one-off, or maybe you need has King Lassel Super TMR, Malphasi Super TMR, if those things all sound good to you, then this might be something that you want to go in on. However, I'd probably say if you're looking for super TMRs, and you're feeling like a gambling man or gambling gal out there, and Mastermind Zahn is going to attract a lot of people, so is Malphasi. Those are the 2 that I'd say, like, those are the ones that are real winners here. So 2 out of, I think it's like 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 2 out of 20. So 2 out of 20, if you're equally happy with either of those, it has a 1 in 10 shot. You do get to reroll 4 times, though, if that's a thing. And if you have some other things in there that you actually really want to, like Regina sounds really good for you, Carlet sounds really good for you, you don't mind picking up Lunith, or Kaito's in there as well. I forgot about him already. Then this might be a thing for you to go for. I would only do this one really as a veteran player going for those super TMRs. If you're a newer player, I would tell you to stand down if you're looking for units that you want to use and utilize, because you don't get a 7-star copy, you get a 5-star base version. If you're a newer player, 6,000 Lapis is really cheap, but I would tell you to save that Lapis and do the support banner, do the tank banner, because those characters you can actually use, especially a lot of the supports and healers, and even some tanks for some of the earlier trials and stuff like that, and different content of that nature. You can use 6-star versions, right? You have like stuff like 6-star Warrior of Light, Lena, and Myra, and even some of the breaker characters in there with their enhancements. If they put some of the older ones in there, are gonna actually be usable units. Whereas damage dealers at 6-star don't really get the job done. So as a newer player, I tell you to stay away from this, far away from this. As a veteran player, I'd say only go for it if you're very, very, very excitedly happy with having at least a couple of them. If you don't have at least a couple of these characters ready to get their super TMRs for, I would not pull on it. Your odds are not the greatest to get those things. If you only want one specific thing, I tell you to stay far away from it. So if this helped you guys out, let me know down in the comment section below. I went in here, Attacker Mage Banner, definitely popping off. To start off, they put the first, it's going to be the worst one out there just because attack and magic damage, just damage dealers in general don't have the longevity that healers and supports and tanks do in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I'm actually kind of excitedly waiting to see the support banner. I kind of wish Mastermind Zahn was on the support one. If he was on the support one, I would totally go for it because I really kind of want that super TMR. I kind of almost want to go for it now, but I'm still not going to do it because there's only one character that I really want, so I'm going to pass on this one. So let me know what you guys thought about this banner down below. If you did pull on it, if you didn't pull on it, what you did get, what you didn't get. And thank you guys once again for the support. It means a whole bunch. Likes and comments. I want to see them so we can see what the community is up to. And once again, you guys who decide to go on Patreon or become channel members get that early access to content and other such bonuses. Really helps me out and allows me to make even bigger and better content as we go on this journey, on this career path journey for content creation. So once again, signing off. See you guys later. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.